What's the most played thing on electric guitar by guitarists all over the world? Even though a part of me would love for it to be the soundtrack of the Guardian Legend from the NES, the most played thing by guitarists on planet Earth is definitely the power chord. They are the foundation of countless of rock and metal songs. Yet despite their popularity, I often see some self-taught students that don't play them effectively. In this video, I'm going to teach you everything you need to know to play power chords correctly and efficiently, with a lot of examples and a drum backing track to make it fun. If this is your first time watching one of my videos, welcome to my studio and on my channel. I'm Stefano Rossi, I'm a guitar teacher, I'm the director of the DUP Music School, and in my spare time I like to sing soundtracks from old video games. Pa 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 da da da, pa 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 da da pa pa pa. Click the first link in the video description to download the PDF with the tabs and the sheet music of all the exercises, plus the drum backing tracks to play along. Before we start, let me bother you for just 2 seconds. If you haven't already, hit that subscribe button and give this video a like. It costs you nothing but helps me a lot in growing my channel and reaching more guitar lovers out there. If you do it, thank you from the bottom of my heart. And if you'd like to support me even more, check out my Patreon. By subscribing, you'll get access to all the PDFs of all my video lessons on YouTube. And all the backing tracks too. As always, you'll find the link in the description box. So what exactly are power chords? Even though chord is in the name, the power chord is not a chord. By definition, a chord needs at least 3 different notes played together, whereas a power chord has only 2. From a formal and theoretical perspective, the correct definition of a power chord is a harmonic interval, meaning 2 notes played together at a certain distance. Most commonly, a power chord is made by playing together the root note of any key that you want and its perfect fifth interval. So, if you want to do a C power chord, you need to play C and G together. Power chords can be played on a lot of different positions on the guitar, but the fingering remains almost the same. The most common way to play it is to use your index finger on the root note and your ring finger or pinky finger for the perfect fifth, which is usually 2 frets forward on the next string. The only exception is between the 3rd and the 2nd string, where the 5th is moved 1 extra fret forward due to the guitar's tuning. A popular way to make power chords sound more powerful is to add a 2nd root note using 3 fingers, so index for the root, ring finger for the perfect fifth, pinky for the octave of the root. With this shape, let's play our first example. In this exercise, we are playing a progression in A minor, using the A power chord from the 5th fret of the 6th string, the G power chord on the 3rd fret of the same string, and the F power chord on the 1st fret of the same string. Each power chord lasts 2 quarter notes, and with the hand on the fretboard, we move downward first, and then back up. To get a fuller sound, instead of just picking the lower strings, I'm strumming across all the strings, while my left hand finger mutes the thinner strings to prevent unwanted noise. This technique gives you a much richer sound than just lightly picking the notes. Now let's try a progression starting from the 5th string for the next exercise. Here we have a D minor progression, so the D power chord on the 5th string, 5th fret, C power chord on the 5th string, 3rd fret, and B flat on the 1st fret of the same string. This time we also need to be careful about muting the 6th string, so it doesn't ring accidentally. The trick is to lightly touch it with the tip of your index finger. If you don't touch it, it will sound like this. Not so good. It's very important to just touch it and don't press it down. Just rest your finger on it to mute the string. This way, even if you strum all the strings, the low E won't vibrate, and if you don't press it, you don't play the perfect fifth 1 octave lower. It sounds really cool, but if you don't have to play it, it could be a little too heavy. Let's make things even trickier on the next progression. This time we are playing a progression on the 4th string, G on the 5th fret, F on the 3rd fret, and E flat on the 1st fret. Because of the tuning difference I mentioned earlier, to double the octave we now have to move the pinky 1 extra fret forward, so it's not like this, but it's like this. Also, to avoid unwanted noise, we mute the 5th string with the tip of the index finger like before, and the 6th string by resting the middle finger on it. This position might feel awkward at first, but once you get used to it, it will be okay. Now that we've got power chords covered, let's speed things up with the next example. We will make a non-stop progression played on quarter notes of all the power chords that we've seen on the previous exercises. And now let's talk about palm muting. Palm muting is a technique where you lightly rest the palm of your picking hand near the bridge to create a more percussive and tight sound. A good palm mute should sound like this. If it sounds a little bit too muffled, then you need to move your hand closer to the bridge. If it sounds a little too sloppy, move your hand slightly away from the bridge, near the neck. It's all about millimeters. Take your time to find the sweet spot. This is correct, this is not. Unlike open power chords, with this technique we only pick the desired strings. So we are just picking the root and the fifth, dropping the extra octave if you want. Or you can just leave the fingers where they are and just pick two strings. Let's try applying this technique with the same power chord progressions as before, but now with 8th note rhythm patterns. now let's spice things up by mixing power chords with palm muting with open power chords. In the next exercise, we open up the second quarter note of each measure. To create a more dynamic rhythm, a common mistake is to try keeping your hand in a half-muted position. But that won't work well. Instead, fully lift your hand for the open power chords, then bring it back down for the muted ones. Let's play it together. Let's try instead playing just 8th notes rhythm patterns. This means lifting the hand on the 3rd and on the 7th, 8th notes. Now your picking hand needs to return to position even faster after each open power chord. Let's see if you can play it. And now let's change the intervals a little bit. At the beginning I mentioned that power chords are harmonic intervals. While the perfect fifth is the most common, we can use even other intervals to play this kind of things. Check out this next example. I'm playing the minor sixth here. In the next position I'm playing the major sixth. In the next position I'm playing the augmented fourth. And in the next position I'm playing the perfect fourth. And even the rhythm pattern is changed a little bit because I'm opening in a different way the power chords. So you need to open the power chord on the 3rd 8th note, on the 6th and on the 8th of each measure. So it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And now let's listen to this example. And if you want something even harder, let's see if you can play this progression. This is made starting with a minor third, going for the perfect fifth, and then on the perfect fourth, but the fingering is a little bit different here. On the next measure, I use the major third starting from the G, so. And then here I use the power chord even with the open string. And then I go back on the G. And then you can move it even on the other keys. And that's it. Now you have a lot of power chord tricks to explore. Let me know in the comment section if you liked these exercises and if they were useful. I'm always happy to hear from you. See you in the next video. Ciao ciao ciao!